Alright, this is the draffet store. I'm draffet. Now, this week I said I was going to play it by ear, same with next week. Well, I got lots of stuff to talk about, but wasn't really sure what I was going to talk about. So we got to shoot my opinion of stuff that happened with the shootings over the weekend. There's a 16-minute thing. I guess I haven't watched a clip for it about some doctor talking about, how bad sugar is for your system. One of the other things on YouTube, Hodge twins were talking about aspartame, which I was thinking about talking about. Then I had about 4 or 5 other things ranging from trust to faith, being holidays this weekend. But I'm going to do it on doctors, just for the simple fact that my daughter had to see her doctor for her annual checkup and doesn't have to go back again for about another 2 months. Now, with that said, here's my opinion of doctors. All the doctors my daughter's had to deal with since her birth, I have no issues with whatsoever. I think they're awesome. Okay, they've given me the answers I needed to. They've dealt with my daughter in, kindly, awesome fashion, friendly as hell. Like I said, no issues whatsoever. Now, that said, that doesn't mean I agree with all doctors, because here's the thing: doctors are licensed to practice medicine. Everybody goes to them for advice. And they're like, well, you got, give you, well, this is my advice and this is what you need to do if you want to stay healthy. But it's advice, okay? They're human. Yes, they've gone to school for 8 years, and then depending on how old they are, practice in the field for so long. But they're still practicing medicine, meaning that they're getting better at it as they go along. They don't know everything. Like, prior example, with the aspartame thing, okay, it mimics a lot of illnesses and other things that for some reason they can't, if you're having aspartame overdose, they don't know, okay, because it looks like this, okay, and that's what a lot of stuff happens, okay, like, some of these newer drugs, they're not getting checked as much as they should, or chemicals, they're not getting checked as much as they should, so they don't really know what the long-term side effects are, or major side effects. So these drug companies put out all these things, and the doctors have to go through and pay 52 pickup afterwards, finding out if you have real illness or an chemical illness, or a chemical-derived illness. Now, that said, that's not the only thing I'm going to talk about with them. Okay. The other thing is my personal take. Any doctor above 35 needs to get their head out of their ass and get their God complex and knock the shit out of them. All right. Not saying that all of them are like that, but most of the ones I've had to deal with between myself and my wife, well, especially my wife in the last year, all of the doctors that were younger, hospitable, decent, listened to what we had to say, made apologies when they weren't, when they made a mistake and weren't, said, hey, we should have put you on this instead of, just cutting you off cold turkey. All the ones over 35 that are my age, I wanted to beat them like with a baseball bat to knock their fucking sense back into their, up to their front, down from their head, back down to their ass, because they didn't listen. They jumped to conclusions. You try to tell them what, hey, I paid attention to this. This is what I see. Oh, no, okay, no problem, and give me dirty looks. Okay, I talked about mostly with my wife. That said, I don't know if it's just the American medical community, because my dad's actually got a pretty decent doctor, and he's from one of the islands or Africa, I can't remember which. A real sociable guy, friendly, works with his patients, the whole 9 yards. Okay, but every other doctor that I've had to deal with, that his age, or like I said, down to 35, pain in the ass. And I don't know if it's the insurance companies dictating to the hospitals, well, this is what you got to do, so you got to get these, so it hampers what a doctor can do, or if they're just full of shit. I mean, doctors, you are people, okay? Get an illness, go to another doctor, find out how bad some of these, your cohorts are, okay? And see how they treat, you as a patient. I'll bet you find out that you're going to change your way of dealing with your patients afterwards. Because, and I'm not talking about these TV doctors that are on Oprah or whatever. I'm talking about, doctors that I've had to deal with, whatever the situation. Okay, all the ones under 35, I had no issue with. They are the way that doctors should be. They ask the questions. They say, if you need to get second opinion, go get a second opinion. Okay, or don't follow what we have to say. This is this is what we're telling you. But if you don't follow it, fine. But these other older doctors are just like, full of themselves, or their paycheck, whichever it is, or both. And I've had bad experiences a whole lot in the last, we'll say 20 years. Okay, not all of them are bad experiences, but this the reason why I don't. If I get an ache, pain, or whatever, if I don't have to go, I don't go. I mean, I used to be stupid and listen to my doctor. I've got a pin or a plate in my foot because of it, from a workman's comp situation. That the doctor said, well, you're going to have orthopedic arthritis if you don't do it because of the severity of your thing, so we suggest, and I listened to him. I've had nothing but problems with my foot ever since. I mean, if I go to a job site, I step on something wrong. A job, and I step on something wrong, or spend too many hours putting at it, it hurts. Now, if I would have done the smart thing and questioned him, or just said, no, sorry, I want, boom, get this shit done and taken care of, I probably would have been fine. But back then, I based it on, well, he's had this kind of experience, so I should listen to him. And I'm, my age I'm at now, I don't do that. I'll listen to the advice and I'll tell, okay, no problem. And then I might go and, ask for a second opinion. Maybe not with the same hospital. I might go to another hospital and ask, doctor to ask, or whatever. But I'm going to ask for a second opinion because I don't like the way that the medical care is in this country. I don't know what it's like in Canada, and I don't know what it's like in Europe. But from my experience where I'm at, it's not great. It's not like bad. Poor fare. It's just not great. Maybe it's the way I talk to them. I don't know. I've had cheap ass insurance recently through, like I said, with it might just be the insurance companies, because like I said, I had cheap ass insurance company through the county I lived in, and it was bare minimum. I had to go to the doctor. It didn't cover this. It didn't cover that, and then I had to do the copay. And the doctor's like, "Oh, you got this. All right, no problem." Okay. If the insurance companies are dictating, this is what I think. Because you are not helping me and other people out. You're causing us to have more problems than what it's worth. Seriously, what it's worth. Okay. Now, Now that said, next week I'm just going to do play it by ear again. I mean, I might do my opinion with the shooting over the weekend and what I think about stuff like that. Or I just might deal with the aspartame thing. I mean, do some research on it and actually talk about it. Because, I mean, following up with doctors, I mean, it's, good, another thing is like, why is this being passed if it causes this? But with that said, I'm Draffet. This is Draffet Store. Have fun.